Good morning. We are on week 3, Trump trial, day 11, last day of the week. Happy Friday, everybody. An eventful Thursday indeed, with the conclusion of the testimony by Keith Davidson, the lawyer for Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels. We also got to hear from a custodian of records. Very exciting stuff, Karen, from the district attorney's office. But what the custodian of records authenticated, the audio recordings that Michael Cohen had taken, I believe, with Trump, acknowledging the payments, acknowledging Michael Cohen's role, I thought was an important piece of the puzzle that was connected, even if it was for just a short period of time. There was a moment when Donald Trump exited the trial as well yesterday that you and I did not address because it happened after our summary from Thursday concluded. And it was when Donald Trump said, and he lied, and I heard you talk about this on CNN yesterday as well, that he's not allowed to testify at trial, that he wanted to testify, but he can't testify because of the gag order that's in place, which is a total lie. The first clip I just want to show you, Karen, is not Donald Trump exiting. I'll just show you a clip from Donald Trump. I believe this is from April 12th, so several weeks back, when Donald Trump was giving all of these interviews. And I could show you 10 of these. I'm just going to show you one where Trump said he's going to testify. He's going to testify. So let's take a look at this one first. Let's play it.
You plan to testify in your trial in New York?
Yeah, I would testify, absolutely. It's a scam. It's a scam. That's not a trial. That's not a trial. That's a scam. If you read Jonathan Turley, if you read Andy McCarthy, if you read the legal, they said there's not even a case there.
So he said he would testify there. Also, back on April 22nd or 23rd, I believe, Trump gave an interview with the largest television station in Pennsylvania, whatever that Tuesday was when the Pennsylvania election, the primaries were being held. And Trump said that he was absolutely going to die. I've been covering a number of these Trump rallies where a lot of the right-wing hosts would be saying how grateful they were that Trump was testifying, that he's going to go in there and he's going to, show everything, and he's going to testify and he's going to confront the district attorney. And then as Donald Trump was kind of exiting, almost storming out of court today, and, Lawrence O'Donnell and others talked about how Donald Trump was like scowling at the reporters and just behaving himself very oddly. Donald Trump said this to the press. Let's play this clip.
What do you think about the Davidson testimony?
Well, I'm not allowed to testify. I'm under a gag order, I guess, right? I can't even testify on that. No, we're going to be appealing the gag order. I'd love to answer that question. It's a very easy question, the easiest question so far. But I'm not allowed to testify because this judge, who's totally conflicted, has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Nobody's ever had that before. And we don't like it, and it's not fair. Other people are allowed to do whatever they want to us, and I'm not allowed as a presidential candidate, the leading candidate, the Republican Party nominee, and the one who's leading Biden by a lot. I'm not allowed to talk. There's never been any abuse like this before. This conflicted judge ought to get out of this case. He should not be having this case. He gives us nothing. It's such a rigged court. So I'm not allowed to testify because of an unconstitutional gag order. We're appealing the gag order, and let's see what happens. Thank you very much.
Now, Karen, everything that he said there is false. The gag order doesn't even apply to anything other than you can't threaten the judge's family. You can still make statements about the judge. You can't go after the district attorneys, the staff, and other court members, but Trump can make statements about the district attorney. He can't talk about the jury. So that's what the gag order says. But then also a gag order is about extrajudicial statements, out-of-court statements, not statements that are in court during testimony. But then to see Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, almost look like a broken man, like a defeated, like it was very strange to see him like bob his head like that and really just, and it creates issues, right, about ineffective assistance of counsel that may have to be addressed as well. I wonder if that has to be addressed. So Karen, before we talk about more what we expect on Friday, I think the first thing that has to be addressed is that, because doesn't it also have some additional impact regarding, effective assistance of counsel? Is Justice Merchan going to have to address that? What do you make of that, Alton?
Well, there's few rights guaranteed to a criminal defendant by the United States Constitution that is more important than the right to testify in your own defense. He has an absolute right to do that. It's his choice. It's not his lawyer's choice. His lawyers can advise him of that. But like any other person who's accused of a crime, there's an absolute right guaranteed by the United States Constitution to testify in your own defense. And so that is absolutely false that the gag order applies to that. Perhaps he's confused. The lawyer nodding behind him is very strange. Todd Blanche is a very smart lawyer who has a really good reputation. So I am surprised that he would nod like that. I suspect that you will see the district attorney tomorrow if they've seen that clip that was played on Fox News. By the way, if you noticed at the bottom, the Dow is up, the S&P is up, like the stock market's up. Love how he goes on and on, not today, but typically about how the economy is terrible under Biden, and they just have it below that it's not terrible. Anyway, I suspect that the DA's office will ask the court to clarify that because that's not only ineffective assistance of counsel, but it's also just dangerous to have a misleading, for him to claim and have that be said that somehow the gag order applies to that. It clearly does not. It's all about, as you said, extrajudicial statements made outside of court. It's to prevent extraneous information getting to the jury. The only thing that should get to the jury is information that happens in court, on the witness stand. When you raise your right hand, you swear under oath to tell the truth. And if the judge rules the evidence to be admissible. So I'm sure that somebody will correct the record there and clean that up, but it's just flat out wrong. And as I said, there's few things as clear that is a right as that, but that's one of the rights that people have, that an accused has.
So, Karen, we really had two big material witnesses so far. Most recently, Keith Davidson, the lawyer who had previously represented Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. I think the other big witness who testified was David Pecker, the former leader of the AMI, which ran the National Enquirer, both corroborating each other in different ways, but similar. They approached it from different sides of the transaction, but corroborating each other. Friday, usually, right, from a strategic standpoint, you're not going to really start a star witness usually. What would be your approach? Who do you, as of now, I'm not sure who the witnesses are. Who do you think they're going to call today? And do we expect anything big today, or you think it's more authentication of records?
Well, so this poor person who, this person who works at the Manhattan DA's office, he's an analyst who has worked in the intelligence field. He had the fate of executing a search warrant on Michael Cohen's phones. Normally, somebody would stipulate to that. He had to testify today in this trial, and I think I get the impression that Trump's lawyers have heard the commentary that why aren't they stipulating to these witnesses? They're not even cross-examining them, because they started to cross-examine him, which totally strange. Why they're even cross-examining him? There's nothing to say. He's this nice kid who who works in the DA's office, who analyzes phones, and he recovered things from the phone. So they're trying to get something out of him. I don't really know what it is. It's not going to be anything substantive. The phone has what it has on it. And the downside is one of the really key pieces of evidence here is this tape recording that has Donald Trump's voice on it, talking about the pseudonym in the Stormy Daniels agreement that talks about this fake name that Donald Trump is going to be using as the defendant in this action, in this NDA that with Stormy Daniels, and they talk about it, Michael Cohen and Trump. So it's a big piece of evidence. And by making the DA's office call him, all they're doing is they played the tape, the jury heard it, and I'm sure they'll play it with Michael Cohen again, and I'm sure they'll play it again in summation. So it just adds yet another time that the jury gets to hear Donald Trump's voice, because clearly he's trying to get out of testifying now, which, I'm not surprised. If he testified, he'd be cross-examined about his extramarital affairs that are the subject of these agreements, which I'm sure he doesn't want anyone to find out, or his wife to find out, but that's what they would cross-examine him on. I mean, there's no denying that he had an almost year-long affair with Karen McDougal in the beginning of his marriage to Melania, when she had just given birth or was pregnant with their child. So I'm sure that's incredibly embarrassing, and he's not going to want to say that on the stand. And that's the reason he's not going to testify, if he doesn't testify, I think, personally. But this recording is one of the key pieces of evidence, in addition to the testimonial evidence and some other documents and things that you'll see. But the defense is starting to shape up pretty clearly. They're not going to, they're going to do what we always call, it's this phrase, you admit what you can't deny, and you deny what you can't admit, right? And so they're doing that. There's certain things that they can't deny, so they have to admit them, like the fact that there's these payoffs that they used, that they said it was for legal fees, that they reimbursed Michael Cohen for the payments to Stormy Daniels, that they paid Karen McDougal and the doorman, etc. And they're going to say, oh, the doorman was debunked. That wasn't true. That's a perfect example of, we just paid it off, not because they're true or not. It's not consciousness of guilt. We paid it off because the stories would have been damaging. So he's going to say, see, they clearly debunked that one. Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels are equally false. We just paid them because we didn't want that coming out. And that was all. And they're going to say it was all Michael Cohen who was doing it because he's a sycophant and he wants to curry favor with Donald Trump. He was obsessed with Donald Trump, and he's only coming forward now because he didn't get a spot in the administration. I mean, that's what they're saying, but they can't deny the facts are what they are. There's no doubt that they falsified business records and that they paid this money, and that, frankly, that they didn't declare it in the election, and that this was all about the election. They're just going to say Donald Trump had nothing to do with it. That's what it's shaping up to be. And any connection to Donald Trump, what they're saying is you have to rely on people that you can't rely on. And so that's the only connection. So you're going to see the prosecution really hone in on this connection to Donald Trump. David Pecker was key in that. He clearly talked about the times, and there was evidence of it, with whether it was text messages, etc. There's evidence of the fact that there were these arrangements and these agreements and meetings with Donald Trump directly, and that it was election related. But that's one key piece of evidence that you're going to see. The witness that testified yesterday, Keith Davidson, he never dealt with Donald Trump. He just got. So there were just representations that it was about Donald Trump, and they made him out to be this lying extortionist sleazeball, because in this underbelly of a world that they all lived in, right? That David Pecker lived in. They did cash and kills, and they checkbook journalism, and then you had Donald Trump, who's with porn star and a Playboy model, and then you had this lawyer who does his business model is getting payoffs and NDAs for people who get themselves into embarrassing situations. So it's interesting that I think the prosecution is going to want to connect this to Trump as much as possible. So I suspect that today you might see someone like Hope Hicks. Hope Hicks is an insider. It's a Trump insider. It's not someone who has an axe to grind against Donald Trump. It's not someone who is anti-Trump. She's an insider. She worked on the campaign, and she's a kind of a really important key witness, I think. And she's not a long witness. That's why I think they might consider her today on a Friday, because you don't want to end on somebody that's going to take through the weekend so that they can prepare to cross her. You want to call someone who's going to be a powerful, good, substantive witness that reinforces the theory of your case, because the prosecution took some hits with Keith Davidson. He came across, I think, a little bit slimy, saying things like, I don't recall, when I'm not sure that was really believable when asked certain questions, or saying it wasn't hush money, it's consideration for a contract, things like that. He was sort of too cute by half. I think I said yesterday, it reminds me of I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It's like, just come on, don't lie, that kind of thing. So I think he came across a little bit like that. So they're going to want to put a witness on. I think that according to people who were in the courtroom, by the way, they rehabilitated him on redirect, and I think it turned out, on balance, he was a good witness. But I think they're going to want to have someone pretty strong, and I suspect that Hope Hicks, would be someone strong. So I think we would see someone like her. I'd want the jury to have a strong witness at the Friday before a weekend, but I wouldn't want it to carry over so that they could work on their cross all weekend. That's what I'd be thinking of this Friday, because they're in the thick of this, and you want to remind the jury that this is a strong case. And so I would
moving along pretty quickly, Karen, though, right? Like jury selection, expeditious, witnesses, expeditious. Donald Trump we've seen how he's attempted to derail it. Justice Merchan's keeping it on track. And so, things are moving quickly. I mean, would you be surprised if we got a verdict before mid-June?
No, I think we'll have a verdict. I think we'll have a verdict around early June to mid-June. That's what I suspect. I mean, look, it all depends on the defense case, and how if they're going to put on a case, or if their case is going to be their theory of the case is going to come out through their cross-examinations of witnesses, and that's what we're seeing. But no, I think we could even have. I think this could even go to the jury by Memorial Day. I think we're moving along pretty quickly. We've got some more records people to testify. We've got Stormy Daniels that's probably going to testify. Michael Cohen's obviously a big witness who could take a week of testimony, perhaps. I don't think they're going to call Karen McDougal or the doorman, but who knows? So it kind of depends. But no, I think you could potentially have this case go to the jury around Memorial Day, which is like the end of May.
Well, stay tuned, everybody. We will keep you posted. Make sure you keep checking back on the Midas Touch YouTube channel for the constant updates and breaking news that we're doing here. Usually every 90 minutes or so, we'll drop a new breaking news video. And then at the end of the trial proceedings today, Karen Friedman, Agnifilo, and I will be here live again, walking you all through what took place today. And then, we'll wish you a great weekend. So, Karen, we appreciate you as always. Legal AFers, thank you so much. What an honor it is to have Karen Friedman, Agnifilo lead our coverage here of the Trump criminal trial. And we'll see you soon. Shout out to the Legal AFers. Shout out to the Midas Mighty.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the Midas Touch newsletter at MidasTouch.com/newsletter.